free. So good to be with you all tonight. Welcome to those of you joining us online. You might have noticed, so this crazy thing happened today. For the last 3 weeks, we've had internet issues. So we got a new internet company, and they came and hooked up everything literally 2 hours ago. And so we have very strong Wi-Fi now. But then our system went a little wayward. We're still figuring things out. So you didn't get the timer on the screen, but we are live now because it is 5 o'clock in 33 seconds. Anyway, good to have you all here with us online, joining us from wherever you are, whatever state you're in. Maybe you're in a sober living house or rehab, or your kitchen, or you're at home with friends or family. We're just glad you're part of this community. So make yourselves at home wherever you are. Just to give you all a reminder, this is a community for addicts, loved ones of addicts, and spiritual refugees. And what we do here is break the silence of addiction while creating space for healing, recovery, and spiritual connection. Which means there's always one thing we don't do in this community. Y'all can shout it out on the count of 3. All 4 words. 1, 2, 3. We don't do shame, but Carrie's going to tell you everything coming up that you might want to know about.
First off, if this is your first night here, welcome. We are glad that you're here and would love to connect with you after service. Just outside of these doors, come find one of us or one of our volunteers, and we'll get you connected with one of our welcome bags. Inside the welcome bags, you'll find some fresh roasted wagon coffee from the extraordinary Tammy Canaday, who is not here this evening, but her coffee is.
She's at a gymnastics meet with Shiloh.
Shiloh.
My daughter Shiloh does gymnastics, and they put them on like Saturdays, and they don't even consider a free recovery community.
I mean,
we're going to have a talk about that.
Well, we're wishing her well.
Yes, we are.
And her family's from town, so,
yes.
you know, there's like a whole family thing going on. And there's also some free swag in there, and there's also a meeting schedule. If you flip that meeting schedule over, there's a QR code. If you scan that QR code, you'll get hooked up to all the different ways to stay connected. You can sign up for our newsletter, which I know y'all hear me talk about every single week, but I do love the newsletter, and it is the most important way to stay connected here. You'll find out who the guest storyteller is each week, and you'll find out all the different events that we have coming up. For example, not this Sunday, so not tomorrow, but next Sunday. Do we not have it? No, you don't have to.
I was just going to hold it.
But then how can I read it if you do that?
Please read
this
it.
is me cheating. He's like just called me out for cheating.
See what happens when I try to be helpful.
This is how I passed high school, Ryan, with my cheating notes. I'm just kidding, kind of. But anyway, this is my the recovery roadmap, not this Sunday, next Sunday. So Zach Bloom and his crew, they're putting together, this is slightly different than the Back to Basics. So this is, again, it's a totally free event. This is on our website. It's actually also on the cafe flyer, or the cafe kiosk little things. You can scan the QR code. It's free to attend. It's from 9 until 3 p.m., not this Sunday, next Sunday. You do need to register so he knows how much, because lunch is included. But it's a great way. So he basically says that, like, so happy, joyous, and free, that once you're in recovery, how do you kind of take it up to the next step? So he talks about like the finding your purpose, leadership, and then tools for other people to stay in sobriety, but to also build those recovery skills. So y'all probably know who Zach is by now, but he puts on a wonderful event.
Yeah, this is like level 10 recovery, not step 10 recovery, level 10
Level
recovery.
10, like
So,
up your game.
Zach, if you're online, drop a line in chat about it.
Yeah, and tell us what it's all about.
Yeah.
We also have, guys, this one's super, super exciting. So on April 26th, this is an event. This is the premiere in Colorado. This is a nonprofit who has put together this documentary. It's called Together Family Recovery. It's a event that's going to be located here at Free. It's the only time, or the premiere, I should say, hopefully not the only time, but the first time that it's going to be shown here in Colorado. Tickets are $10, but a lot of the proceeds are going back to both here at Free as well as to their nonprofit. But you can scan this QR code. We'll also throw up on social the previews for it. You can also go onto their website by scanning the QR code to watch the previews. But this is a remarkable event. These people are here local on this event. They're going to be having a Q&A after, so from the people who are actually in the film. So this is going to be on a Sunday. Doors open at 12:30. The cafe is not usually open on Sundays, but we're opening it for this event, and it's going to be.
And she's going to be the guest storyteller on the Saturday.
On the Saturday
prior to
before,
that, right?
yes. Yes, and so tickets are $10, but if you do have any challenges of paying that $10, come and speak to us. We have some people who have graciously decided to donate some tickets. I don't know if they want to be anonymous or not, so I'm gonna wait until I get clearance to say who they are, but people have donated tickets if cost is a barrier.
Yeah.
And that's all I got, friends.
Is that it?
I'm gonna take my notes with me, though.
Okay, thank
All
you,
right.
Carrie.
Bye,
And
guys.
I know Rich and Sheila, have you guys seen this film? You've seen the film. Big, yes, you know Pam. So here's why I was pointing to Rich and Sheila. If you have questions about what is this film all about, I know they're big advocates of it, so talk to Rich and Sheila. Can you just wave your hands around? There you go. Talk to Rich and Sheila. They'll tell you all about it. It's going to be a great event, though. All right, before we jump to celebrations, I want to invite Jerome Eichstead to come up with me. Jerome is on our board of directors here at Free. Many of you know Jerome. Here's why he's coming up. Did you get your hair cut? You look so nice.
I got them all cut.
All of them. So we believe in transparency and honesty around here. We believe in it. We believe in honesty. Here's what I wanted to tell y'all. A couple of weeks ago, we announced to you all that we were excited to receive a grant to address gambling addiction. The grant was for the amount of $437,000. This was not an easy decision to come to, but Jerome's going to fill you in on the details. We have decided to withdraw from that grant and not take the money. And I want you to hear some of the reasons why. And by the way, even after Jerome talks, if you have questions about this decision, always feel free to come talk to me, talk to Jerome, talk to anyone on staff or one of our board of directors, one of those members, and we're happy to have a further conversation with you. But here's just the high-level details. Thanks, Jerome.
Hi, good to see you guys. It's really important to me, and I'm honored to be up here to talk to you about this because it's been a difficult conversation, as Ryan mentioned, over the last couple of weeks. And we owe you transparency and disclosure with regard to our voluntary withdrawal. We had some people in the community come to us, specifically those who have been affected by gambling addiction, had some concerns about the funding source. And that funding source was the Division of Revenue from the state of Colorado. And they entrusted us to essentially, again, a grant is conditional funding, right? So every dollar was accounted for by what we had to do. And after a true analysis of all of that, the things that were being asked of us was just too much for our plate to consider taking on the management of that kind of funding. I think that's not a small amount of money. So there's, to say it in a different way, there's an agenda that comes along with that. And we decided to do the hard thing and say we are going to decline the funding, and we're gonna do it the way we know how to do it. And the second reason that we chose to do that was just to kind of keep ourselves balanced around here with all addictions. We want everyone to feel welcome, regardless of what your addiction is. We don't want to have an external agenda come over here and take over anything that's going on here without adding value to it. So for those of you impacted by gambling addiction, please continue showing up. We've done our best to educate you on what that is, what that means, how to identify it, and eventually where to bring them. So.
And we're going to keep the meetings here. We have 2 GA
Yep.
meetings. We're going to keep creating space for those of you that battle gambling addiction. We want to make that really clear. We're going to keep creating that space.
And we're still part of the team of people who've come together in the state to address this. So we have the ability to connect those who need the most help with free resources. We're just not accepting funding to move that agenda forward. So. Thanks for allowing me to be a trusted person to give you that information, and I'll be here both services if anyone wants to talk more about it.
Yes, thank you, Jerome. Appreciate you, man. Yep. All right, y'all. Well, the way we get started here is with celebrations. We start with the good. We lift up the good. I'm going to start because we have a whole team from Chicago. Raise your hand if you're in the house from Chicago. Free Recovery Community Chicago is in the house tonight. You're going to hear from one of them. He's going to be the guest storyteller later on. Seth, stand up so people can see you. Seth is the pastor of that free community in Chicago. Some of y'all know Seth. Does he have a celebration? Oh, he's going to pass the mic. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and get started. We take 3 minutes for this. I'm going to give someone this mic. Who did I talk to? Seth, and did I ask anyone? No. Colin would be a great one to pass the mic. If you're joining us online, drop your celebrations in the YouTube comments or Facebook comments. We'll celebrate with you there. Maybe you're celebrating a sobriety anniversary or birthday or whatever the new thing in your life or recovery is. We celebrate it all. We take 3 minutes. For those of you in-house, just raise up the hand. Seth will get you a mic on this side. Colin will get you one on this side. This 3 minutes is yours.
Hi, I'm Nina, alcoholic, etc., and I'm celebrating a program. I'm kind of new here. I started in September coming here, and by October I did a yoga class, and then I found this brochure about equine therapy, and I have been doing that now as like my grounding space on Saturdays, and then I go visit my boyfriend who has Alzheimer's, and then I bookend here. But this horse equine therapy, Medicaid covers it. For those of you interested, there's brochures out on the little place in there by the ping pong table, but it's the greatest thing ever. I'm dream of these horses.
Hi, my name is Matt, and I'm an alcoholic and addict, and I'm celebrating 90 days.
I'm Isaiah, and I'm officially 95 days sober off methamphetamines.
My name's Talia. I'm celebrating 479 days sober today, and always a pleasure to be here with my mom.
I'm Fredo. I'm celebrating 92 days free off fentanyl.
Hi, I'm Connor. This is my first time here, and I'm celebrating 33 days sober from alcohol and cocaine.
Patrick, addict alcoholic, got 56 days clean sober.
I wanted to announce I have Roxanne with me, and she is new to sobriety, and she's so happy to be here, and this is her first time at Free.
My name's Chris. I got 6 months sober.
Colin, thank you. Seth, you want to join me up here, dude? What's up, man?
Oh, you know, living.
So, Seth here, some of y'all will remember him. He preached here, was that like 2 years ago?
It was
now?
2023.
2023.
It was
3 years ago.
2023. Carrie was a mere 10-hour-a-week employee.
I mean,
you
so
know,
much has changed. That.
Yes. Your kids were all 1 foot shorter.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did we add any more kids?
No.
Okay, so we still have 4 kids?
There was a full set by then.
Okay,
Yeah.
that's good. So yeah, Seth went off to Chicago and created a community, free recovery community. So if you're ever in the Midwest, you can hit up Free in Chicago. And is everyone here on your leadership team? Is that how you talk about it?
Mostly, yeah, mostly. They're all invested at different levels.
All invested. And Luis is here. He's going to be sharing some of his story later. Seth, shall we join our online community?
Yes, let's do it. Actually, Luis's community is joining us tonight at the treatment center in Chicago.
All right.
So they decided to switch it up tonight.
What's the name of the treatment center?
LSSI, Lutheran Social Services of
All
Illinois.
right. Welcome, LSSI. We're glad you're here. All right. Let's join the online people. You want the first one?
Yeah, I got the first one. So April says, day 6 on my sobriety journey.
Way to
So
go,
let's hear it
April.
for April.
Congratulations. Oh, this is a fun one. Pamela says, Stephen, it sounds so risque. Steve and I ran off to Vegas and got married on 4/1. Congratulations to you and Steve. Yes. Let love reign.
Okay, Kaylin says, I would like to celebrate finishing my medical assistant coursework. Next week is my training and test is Friday. I also booked a cruise for next February for Friends of Jimmy K Narcotics Anonymous cruise. Caitlin has a lot going on. Good, Caitlin.
Good stuff. And Jason says, celebrating my faith and free. Yeah, Jason, we'll celebrate that with you, buddy. Glad you're joining us online. Okay.
Amanda says, celebrating that today is my first time here. So
woo! Welcome, Amanda. All right, Jen says, celebrations seem difficult during these very trying times. With that being said, I'm sober. I'm not turning to alcohol to help me cope with not knowing what tomorrow will bring. So I celebrate another day in recovery, another day sober, and so grateful for that. And of course, every day I'm so very grateful and blessed for my beautiful wife, Christy. Yes, we'll celebrate that with you, Jen, you and Christy.
Okay, so Clara says, my milestone is I have been at Mountain West Recovery for 3 months now, sober from alcohol, and I'll be done with peer specialist training to be a recovery coach in May. So let's hear it for Clara.
Way to go, Clara. Congratulations. Mike Anderson was at your launch.
He was
in
at
Chicago.
the launch, yes. So Chicago is a very big place.
Yes.
Yes, and I think Mike lives like an hour and a half away, but he drove in.
He drove all the way in.
To come to the launch. So,
and Mike joins us every week online. Celebrating that my wife has healed enough after 5 surgeries last year. We are on a vacation, and I am beyond grateful for that. Mike, we're celebrating that with you,
That's
buddy.
Great.
Yeah, good stuff, dude.
I think when Mike was at Free, his wife was going through that. So
Yes.
favorite thing about Free is when a heartbreak becomes a celebration.
Yes, it's a beautiful thing. Beautiful thing.
Okay, JF says, sorry we aren't there. I have an ear infection, but Brian is celebrating 11 months clean.
All right, way to go, Brian. Happy 11 months. Good stuff. All right, thank you, Seth.
Okay,
you want me to take that from you?
Yeah, it's all yours.
All right. All right, y'all, we're starting a new series tonight. This one is called Who Am I Now? So you went through all these transitions, or maybe you're going through transitions. Life has changed. Who am I now? And before I show you that little video, I want you to know Corey Latta is in the house tonight, our resident, what do we call him? Resident teaching pastor here at Free. He flies in all the way from Memphis every 6-ish weeks to be with us. He's going to be leading a group online. We'll talk more about that in the future, but that's going to kick off this summer. But anyway, he's going to be giving a very powerful message tonight. Who am I? Here's the video.
Life doesn't ask permission. It just changes everything. One day you know who you are. Then suddenly, you don't. This is the in-between, where everything shifted, but you haven't caught up yet. If you've ever asked, who am I now? This is where we start digging.
Well, good to be with you guys. Very honored to be here again to kick off this series. Tonight we're going to be talking about, in sort of the spirit of this question of who am I, we're going to talk about life changes, particularly those life changes that hit us hard, they hit us fast, they're unexpected, they're often not welcome, certainly not invited, and what to do with them. I'm going to start with an assumption, and the assumption is grounded in my experience and the experience of people I know. When there's a life change that's unexpected, uninvited, particularly painful, it's hard. That's my experience with it. Anybody with me? Right? Life changes, unexpected, uninvited, hard. I want to start with, I like to sort of like lay a foundation of why something is the way it is before I move on to talk about how to work through it. So I want to talk about first why life change, abrupt, again, uninvited, why it's hard. So I'm going to give you, just in service of like laying the foundation of why life changes, when they happen faster than when we're ready for, why they're hard. Here's the first thing I want to say about life change. Again, and a lot of times when I'm prepping these talks, I'm always thinking about my experience. I'm thinking about what Scripture says. I'm thinking about what, this piece of literature says, and I'm thinking about anecdotes and experiences from others. And I just try to sort of distill down my thinking to universal experiences we can all relate to. Here's the first thing I'd say about why life change oftentimes is hard. It's because your history of change is often a history of loss. My history of change is often a history of loss. Here's why I don't like life change. Because historically, that which is change has cost me. Not every time, but enough times to condition me. If you know me, maybe been here before and I've talked, I'm a therapist. So I think a lot about patterns. And I think a lot about conditioning. And I think a lot about how it is we're formed. And I've never met anyone who wasn't formed along these lines, to where change has often meant pain and loss. So when change shows up again, I automatically do what? Associate it with what I've known. What's coming my way, I associate with what already came my way. And therefore, it's hard. Second reason why life change is often hard. We actually like the parts of ourselves associated with life before it changed. Here's my theory of breakups, why breakups are so hard. Divorces, breakups, things like that. If this hasn't been you, you've known someone like this. You ever know someone, or have been this person, both for me, that you've gone through a breakup, divorce, with someone you really didn't actually like, and it tore you up. Like, the logic of that is wild, right? Like, I've been with friends and people have been with me, and like, I complained about this relationship for however many months or years. It ends, and I am just in an abyss. And the people close to me are like, I was with you these past. My theory is this: the breakup is not hard because of the person. The breakup is hard because of who you were in the relationship that can't show up anymore. Like, I like me in a relationship, just using that example. I like showing care. I like being a supportive partner. And when that relationship ends, those parts, the thing I'm really grieving, they got no place to go. Lots of times, change is hard because we like parts of ourselves in life before the change comes. And that change means not only do things outside of us have to go away, and we have to grieve them, but we have to grieve the parts of us that we liked before the change came. Third reason, again, just laying the foundation of why life change is hard. We often forget, and this came from I was having to sort of journal and reflect deeply about this. I forget, that God's goodness is spoken through the language of pain. I forget this. There's a great quote by C.S. Lewis in a book he wrote called The Problem of Pain. Maybe the best explanation of this question of, if God is good and he's all powerful, why do crappy things freaking happen, right? The best answer to that question I've ever come across is in The Problem of Pain. He says one thing about pain. He says, God whispers to us in our pleasures, he speaks to us in our circumstance, but he screams to us in our pain. He says pain is a megaphone to rouse a deaf world. Like, oftentimes, when God's going to do for me what I'm not going to do for myself, it's going to freaking hurt. And I forget, and it makes the life change even harder, I forget that oftentimes God's goodness is spoken through the language of ouch, the language of pain. These are just a few of the reasons why I think life change is hard. But life change brings opportunity, and that's why I really want to focus on the opportunity that comes from life change. Okay, I'm going to roll something out. I've never talked about this before. I just came up with it. I like to be creative, like to be innovative. Has anyone ever heard of Johari's window? Some people have? Okay. You can Google it. It's great. It's a way of sort of assessing how honest you are in relationships and all this. Okay, this is something I came up with called a mystery window or a my story window. All right, now I want to talk about how I did a terrible job. I was literally in my little notes app on my phone coming up with this thing. I need to run it through like ChatGPT or Claude or something, but follow me here, okay? So imagine here's a window, right, and we're going to go through these panes. I want to park on this. Why life change births opportunity, okay? And what awaits us in life change if we're open and receptive. Here's the way I think change goes. So follow me here. I'm going to ask you to kind of jump some gullies with me. We start here. First pane, top left corner. What's before me? And what I mean by that is whatever is going on that I don't invite and don't want. What's before me, the life change. What's before me, what does it do? It reveals what's within me. I was talking about this earlier with a friend. Everyone thinks they're super healthy when they're single. And then they get in a relationship and they realize like, oh, I got a lot of triggers. I'm still wounded in ways, right? It's what's before them. It's the relationship that's revealing what's within them. That job loss, that terminal illness, that breakup, that relapse. What's before you reveals what's within you. Is that not true? Well, we find ourselves actually having to look at ourselves when stuff pops off, okay? There is a invitation in this. Okay, I was just talking to Ryan about this. There's a quote that I've gone back to, 7 million times. I will always go back to it. My favorite book is not really a book at all. It's a collection of letters by a poet, Rainer Maria Rilke, and the book is called Letters to a Young Poet. And if you would hit that next slide. Okay, so this is the fourth letter. He's going back and forth. This is a real person, okay, real letters. He's going back and forth with this younger poet who's writing him and asking him about life. And this younger poet wants to know, as we all do, because he's going through life change, like, what's going to happen to me? Where's life going to take me? And this is Rilke's advice. Again, this to me is almost scriptural. Like if I could tattoo this, I'm running out of real estate, but it would be somewhere on me. Okay, here's what Rilke says. And I would, again, apply this to you, right? You are so young, so much before all beginning, and I would like to beg you, as well as I can, to have patience with everything unresolved in your heart. Try to love the questions of life themselves as if they were locked rooms or books written in a very foreign language. Don't search for the answers. Excuse me? Like, you know how freaking hard that is? Don't search for the answers which could not be given to you now because you would not be able to live them. And the point is to live everything. Live the questions now. Perhaps then, someday far in the future, you will gradually, without even noticing it, live your way into the answer. When stuff happens, life changes faster than we want, we're presented with a question. And the purpose of life, I think God's will for all of us, is to live that question. We want the answer, we want the certainty, but the answers don't make us work and grow, right? The questions do. So going back to my story table. What's before me reveals what's within me. What's within me a lot of times is question, pain, uncertainty. If I listen to that, if you listen to what comes up within you, here's what can happen. What's within me becomes what's for me. Ever go through, I love to use the example of relationships, ever go through a relationship and a breakup only to discern what you know you do not want in the future? Or have a job, right, that you finally find the courage to leave only to realize what you know you're not meant for in the future? Maybe clarity about what you are meant for. The way life change can work in us, if we listen to it, is what's within me, whatever comes up, can become what's for me. I'll give you an example. In the height of my own struggle, in the height of my addiction, 2019, go through a divorce, lose everything. Never set foot really in a therapist's office. I was at bottom. If it weren't for my 4 kids, I probably wouldn't be standing right here right now. I had no reason to live as I sort of saw my situation. Finally went to a therapist and started doing deep work on myself, and what was coming up for me became the thing I wanted to give my life to. I wanted to sit with people in pain. I wanted to sit with people in transition. I wanted to help people find that lost little boy or lost little girl that they abandoned a long time ago. What comes up in you, within you, becomes what's for you if you listen. That pain, that transition will light the way. So then you listen to what comes up within you. It becomes what's for you. And then what's for me, like in my case, using this example, my story, helping people, that creates the path from me. I say this all the time and not being falsely humble. I suck at pretty much everything except for 3 things. And I don't know that I'm good at them, I just know I care about them. Speaking, writing, and being with people. That's it. If it ain't those 3 things, I'm pretty useless. What's for me, helping people, sitting with people, holding space for people in their trauma and pain, created the path for me. That's what I'll do till, Lord willing, until I die. Your transition can show you the way for your life, if you allow it. There's data there. There's insight there. And then maybe the most beautiful part of this all, that's why I call it the mystery window, the my story window. Once you set on that path, the path that comes from alignment, the path that comes from you, you can usher in a life of mystery all around you. And I think the purpose of living, going back to Rilke, is the mystery of the question. I don't know what my future is going to be. I don't have to know. I have no control over that. To try to control that is sort of giving myself into anxiety. Instead, I'm meant to live in surrender. There is a gift in mystery I think we've lost. Okay, I'm going to point you to another quote that, again, it wrecks me every time. There's an Irish essayist and poet named John O'Donohue. I think he passed in 2008. And he wrote an essay called The Question Holds the Lantern. I love that title, The Question Holds the Lantern. And it's just like a 5-paragraph essay. But in it, and it's just so rich, every line. But in it, there's this one particular section that really captures what it is I think we're meant for and what we don't think we're often worthy of, okay? He says this. This is right smack dab in the middle of this essay. The greatest friend of the soul is the unknown. Yet we are afraid of the unknown because it lies outside our vision and our control. And by the way, until life changes faster and in ways unexpected to me, I'm probably not going to be open to this. That life change has got to sort of rip my hands off the things I want to control. We avoid it, do we not? We quail it by filtering. Oh, go back. We quail it by filtering it through our protective barriers of domestication and control. And then he drops this fire line. The normal way never leads home. The normal way never leads home. That change has to happen to catalyze growth. Okay, keep going. I love this paragraph. Once you start to awaken, and that's exactly what change can produce, awakening. No one can ever acclaim you again for the old patterns. Now you realize how precious your time here is. You are no longer willing to squander your essence on undertakings that do not nourish your true self. Your patience grows thin with tired talk and dead language. I feel that in my bones. You see through the rosters of expectation. You ever feel like your life is just sort of one big matrix of expectation? Yes. That everyone sort of expects you to be? Everyone sort of expects you to be just this or just that? That's a prison. You want to see through those rosters of expectation, which promise you safety and the confirmation of your outer identity. Safety and the confirmation of your outer identity, i.e. the ego. Now, you are impatient for growth, willing to put yourself in the direction of change. I love this. This goes back to like when change happens, what comes up within me can create a path for me. You want your work to be an expression of your gift. You want your relationship, romantic, platonic, familial, whatever. You want your relationship to voyage beyond the pallid frontiers to where the danger of transformation dwells. My favorite line. You want your God to be wild and to call you where your destiny awaits. That's mystery. That's living the question. That's what it is to surrender to the change happening outside of you by becoming awakened for the first time, about what's going on within you. So let's say you're going through this change, you're surrendered to it, you know that something is being aroused and awakened in you. What's the benefit? Like I had to kind of journal this myself, like what's the benefit of this? What becomes of me as I give myself to this change and let this change have its way with me, let God have his way with me? So here's what I want to say, and this is the way I put it. Here's who you meet. Not necessarily what happens. We're going to talk about that, but who you meet. I want to keep it personal. In change and on the other side of the change. I'm going to say there are 3 people that you meet if you allow yourself to be formed by this change. The first person you meet, my therapist card's about to show big time here, is your familial line. Your familial line. Meaning this, when you go through change profound enough, painful enough, when you're at rock bottom, when things are happening outside your control, and you're finally forced to look inside yourself, bravely, introspectively, openly, you look square into the face of your father and your mother. Meaning this, a question is posed to you in the middle of change. And it's a familial system, family trauma question. It's also a biblical question. I think you see this passed down through the patriarchs and the characters of Scripture. The question is this: am I going to continue in that generational curse, or am I going to break it? Am I going to be like dad and be like mom, or am I going to do it different? See, the hero's journey, one really key part is the hero always goes through adversity, comes down to the abyss. And in the abyss, in the cave, the hero or heroine always sees the face of the father or the mother. And the question is always, am I going to live that same pattern, addicted, unhealthy, toxic, damned life, or am I going to do it differently and experience redemption? The first, I think, person or people you meet in the face of change is your line. Are you going to break the curse? Are you going to do it differently? The second person you meet, I think, is God. In the middle of change, I do see God in a different way. He is not domestic. He is not safe. I'll go back to C.S. Lewis and the Chronicles of Narnia. If you know the Chronicles of Narnia, you hear the story of Aslan. He's like the kind of the Christ figure in the story, right? And the first time the little Pevensey kids, who are the heroes and the heroines of that story, they hear the name Aslan and they hear he's a lion, and they're like, I'd be really freaked out if I met a lion. He's a lion? Is he safe? And they ask that of Mr. Beaver and Mrs. Beaver, and Mr. Beaver says, no, he's not safe. He's a lion, but he's good. God's not safe. God will wreck shop in your life, but he's good. I can only sort of face God in that way when my shop is wrecked and when those domestic lenses have fallen off. This is my favorite thing to talk about, maybe of all this. The other person I meet in and through change, on the other side of change, is myself. There is a verse in Numbers that I think is so potent and so passed over, but so spiritually and psychologically and relationally true. It's Numbers 13:33. You just would gloss right over this, okay? Let me just sort of set this up. So in the Old Testament, Israel is delivered from Egypt, and they're wandering in the wilderness, and they're in exile, and God has made a promise to them. And you want to talk about change, like everything has been changed, 40 years of change. And he says, I've got good things for you, though it hurts, and that good stuff lies in this land. The promised land is what we know it as. And they send spies. These exiles are like, let's go check it out. So they creep over into the promised land, and they come back with a report, and this is what they say. There were giants. Like, we saw giants. Sons of Anak, which came from the giants, and we were in our own sight as grasshoppers, and so we were in their sight. So they come back terrified. All right, now notice anything really interesting about the order here? We were grasshoppers in our own sight, and so we were in their sight. What do you think's happening? Did they go up to the giants and interview them? Like these pagan people, this enemy, did they go up and go, hey, excuse me, Mr. Giant, do I look small to you? Like, how did they get this information? To go back to the text. How did they know they were seen as grasshoppers in the eyes of the giants? What are we told first? They saw themselves that way. You do not see life as it is, you see life as you are. You do not attract what you want, you attract what you are. This is a spiritual biblical principle, and it's only really revealed, I think, in the pain of change. Everything outside of you that you perceive is colored by how you see yourself. If I see myself as a grasshopper, guess how I'm going to see you seeing me? Guess what I'm going to project onto you? I have committed this error so many times in my life. I have sabotaged so many circumstances and situations. I've tanked so many relationships, not because someone else saw me a certain way, but because I imposed on them my own lack of worth. And guess what they did? They just simply reflected it back. When I go through change, I am allowed to meet myself for the first time, and I'm given an opportunity. I haven't always taken it, most times I haven't. I'm given an opportunity to see myself differently. Later on in Israel's story, a couple other spies are going to show up, Joshua and Caleb, and you know what they say? Oh, we got it. We got it. And guess what? They do get it. How they see themselves, how they see their connection with God determines their reality. That kind of awakening, I will not come to in my domesticated, controlled, comfortable life. I just won't. You got to rattle the cage of my domesticity. But when it's rattled, I can see my family line differently. I can see God differently. I can see myself differently. The song I chose tonight, anybody a Bob Dylan fan? All right, this is a Bob Dylan song. It's covered by a guy named Derek Webb, who's one of my favorite artists. It's called Every Grain of Sand. It's Dylan, so it's deep. All right, so just like lock in, I would say. But it's a song about change, instability, the feeling of loss of control, and yet a faith that God has every sparrow counted, as we're told in the Sermon on the Mount, every hair on your head accounted for, and every grain of sand numbered. And that in the middle of change, there is still security, that the God who is ushering in that change is also caring for you. Every grain of sand.
welcome back. If you are new with us, you should know that every single Saturday we invite a community member up into the living room to share a little bit of their story with us. And this one's so fun, you guys, because I first met our guest storyteller, I think it was 2 years, or whenever the summit was that last year? I'm terrible with time. I think it was last year. Came out here. Seth and his team were looking to bring this to Chicago, so he brought like a whole bunch of his friends to kind of see what we do here. We connected, we met. We also, when we went to Chicago, got to meet him. And then again, this is so remarkable to see what he's doing and to his community who's watching here online tonight. So can you please do me a favor and help Louise up? Welcome Louise up to living room. Hi.
Hi.
How you doing?
Pretty good.
Welcome to the stage side of Denver.
Yeah, I didn't realize how bright it would be up here. It really helps.
I think people think that we just say that, but when you're up here, you can maybe see a little bit of the second row, and that's about it.
Yeah. Everybody in the back row, I cannot see anything, which really helps.
Yeah, you can just focus on me, and we can just have a little conversation. I am so glad that you're here. And I think it's really important, one, to kind of talk about your backstory, but then I also think it's so exciting what you're doing today. And again, you're bringing your community with you online tonight. But can you tell us a little bit of who you are, why you're here, and kind of what your addiction looked like?
Okay, so my name is Luis. I was raised in Indiana, in a small town, Goshen, Indiana. Childhood was pretty normal. Grew up with loving parents, going to church, going to youth group. So, like church has always been part of like my life. I started using at a pretty early age, like 16, I think. I started smoking weed, and then like it progressed to pills. And by the time I was in my 20s, I started using meth. And that carried on until like my 30th, not my 30th birthday. I wish I would have gotten sober on my 30th birthday, but I finally surrendered and got clean on January 17th of 2024.
You can clap for that. That's a pretty good thing to celebrate. And I want to talk a little bit about, because you did have a faith growing up, but it wasn't a God that you said that you relied on, or that you really understood how to depend on that God. And I know that when we spoke, you had said your third step was significant for you. Can you, first of all, for anyone who doesn't know what that is, can you tell us what that is? And then two, tell us about like what it meant to you.
So the third step basically asks us to turn our will and our life over to the care of God as we understand it, right? And for me, I tried recovery a few other times, right? And every time I got to this step, I kind of, like the word God just kind of turned me off. I didn't want to do recovery because of that word God. And I think it was because when I was growing up, even though we were going to church and I grew up going to youth group, and I have an uncle who's a pastor in Mexico. So I would spend some summers in Mexico with him and go to like church camp. But I heard this message of like, God doesn't love you because you're gay, right? So that kept me from like really wanting to be part of organized religion or to like trust God. Even though when I was a kid, I had my grandmother, she passed away when I was in 5th grade. And, everybody always says like grandmas kind of know who their grandbabies are, like if they're gay or not. But I remember my grandma specifically telling me like, God loves you no matter what, like he accepts you no matter what. And when I was doing my third step this time, and I was kind of like struggling with trusting my higher power and like what that meant for me, for some reason that came back to me, like that conversation with my grandma when I was like in 4th grade just kept popping up in my head. And I think that just really helped me understand that like, God does love me and I can trust this higher power, and, help me move past that.
And then so you really dove into the recovery thing, so much so that you ended up working at a treatment center, correct? And what I want to, because now you bring, so Free Chicago just started live streaming January 1st. And so you have been physically to the free location, Chicago, twice, right? So I'm curious, what is it that was so magical in those 2 times that you visited, so much so that you're going to go tell your employer, hey, this is something we got to go do?
So, I mean, first off, coming to Denver and experiencing free here was like what really solidified me being a part of free at all. Like, and then when we brought it to Chicago, I went for the launch, I think. Yeah, so just seeing all the people that showed up, seeing like the community that we were building out there. And then I went for my 2-year anniversary. And, you know, just like the support I received from like the community there, like on my 2-year anniversary was really special to me. And bringing it to the facility was just kind of like a no-brainer, you know? There was a slot open at 7 p.m. My clients aren't doing anything at that time. And we were able to bring it in through YouTube. So we live stream it on YouTube, and my clients get to watch it every Saturday. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into that.
I want to give you a little word of warning because you officially now are the community outreach coordinator.
Yes.
So that's what I started as in part-time. I was not going to be on stage. I wanted to do nothing on stage, and then now you obviously know that doesn't happen. I know there's a little rumor floating around when we had lunch yesterday that you might actually preach one day at Free Chicago.
So
right?
I do not like being up on stage.
Me neither, friends.
When Seth asked me to come do this, I was really like hesitant, but my sponsor unfortunately has told me like every time somebody asks you to share your story, you kind of have to do it. So I followed my sponsor's suggestions, and here I am now.
But there's also, you have a God today, that kind of what Corey was talking about. It's pretty remarkable when you have that higher power, like the rooms you can enter, the stages you can go on, and this big, beautiful life that God can have for you, right?
Yeah, and I really enjoyed the message tonight because it kind of really spoke to me. You know, like it got me thinking about where I was 2 years ago and like the changes that just kind of started happening when I kind of like surrendered and I let God take control of my life. And I like actually I was practicing surrender without realizing that I had surrendered, right? Like, because I was just I had such a rock bottom in my addiction that I was just like willing to try anything and follow anybody's suggestions to stay clean. And looking back, that was like kind of me trusting a higher power. And the doors that have been opened up, all of them have been through like just trusting the process, doing the next right thing, trusting my higher power. Even the field I work in, I kind of got asked to do an H&I meeting. I did not want to do that because, once again, I don't like speaking in front of people. And I ended up doing that for a year. And I found out that I'm like really passionate about sitting in a room with people that are going through the same thing that I was going through. You know, people in early recovery that have like a week or a day or whatever it is. And so I enjoyed the message tonight because like when I trusted my higher power and I put myself in those spaces, you know, these positive changes in my life just started to happen without me controlling everything. Yeah.
And I know you're going to stick around, and the Free Chicago team will be here in between service and also after the 7 p.m. So I really encourage you guys to get to know Louise and all of the other members who are here from Free Chicago. But I do want to wrap up with one final question. Anyone who is still out there suffering, perhaps it's someone who's watching online who can't even seem to make that small step even to come into this building, because sometimes that first trust step with a higher power is absolutely terrifying. What would you say to someone out there who might be struggling to understand what it means to fully give your life over to a higher power?
I would say trust the process and trust the people around you. You know, like I struggled with a higher power when I came into the rooms, but I really trusted the people that were put in my path to want the best for me. So whether that meant my therapist, my counselors, then it kind of led me here, right? So like I would say trust the process.
And that's how it was for me too. Like, I believed that you believed, right?
Yeah.
And that's how it started with me. So whether it's a therapist or a friend or someone, a loved one, just saying like, I believe you can get this. Thank you so much for coming all the way to Denver. We are so, so grateful for you.
Thank you.
Can you guys please give it up for Louise?
Louise, can I tell you a funny story? Sure. Okay, so when we were going to, when Carrie was signing her job thing, you know how you got to sign an HR document? She's got the pen. She's like this. I don't have to preach, do I? No, you don't have to preach. Just sign the paper. I don't have to preach, right? Then we were in Chicago in an Uber. And a topic came up. She said, I think I could say a word on that. And then a month later, she was on the stage. And now she loves being on this stage. Seth, one day Louise is going to love to be at Free giving a message. Thank you both, Louise, Corey, Carrie, thank you both for leading tonight. Powerful stuff. Hey, I want to give one, were we clapping? Was there a clap? Yes, we can clap for that. I want to say one other thing, a huge shout out to the tech team, Chance and Matthew. I was just sharing a bathroom moment with, that sounds terrible. Let me rephrase that. I was in the bathroom, Matthew was in the bathroom too, and I said, dude, how did you, because nothing was on, and by the way, we can make things work with nothing on. We would have gathered as community as we do. But then like 3 minutes before things started coming on, I said, what'd you guys do? How'd you get it? And he said, I don't know, it always happens at the last minute. Then there was this middle voice in the bathroom. It gets more awkward. And this voice says, it was God. God sounds really masculine. Anyway, so huge shout out to the tech team. Y'all, I know it was really stressful for you back there. And you do great work each and every week. All right, well, the way we close here on a Saturday night is with similar to celebrations, except we call these heartaches. These are the burdens that you might be carrying, the things you need some prayer for, some encouragement, some good vibes and energy, some community, because maybe you've been trying to carry those burdens alone, and you don't have to. I hope you always hear that message here at Free. You are not alone, and you do not have to be alone, but it does take some speaking on your part. You got to let others in. You got to voice that burden into the mic, and so we take 3 minutes for this. If you're online, drop your heartache into the Facebook comments or YouTube comments. We'll join with you there. For those of you in-house, just raise up your hand, and Colin and Seth will again get you a mic. This 3 minutes is yours.
Hi, I'm Jess. So we have a friend that relapsed yesterday. He was kind of walking the street, and I went and picked him up. I took him to the hospital at Lutheran, called West Pines, and they're gonna get him into a detox center and make sure that he's okay. He does have a bed ready for him at his recovery place, so we can pray for him. Yeah, that'd be great.
Hi, I'm Matthew, and I'm just asking for prayers and some lifting up. I experienced a relapse this week, and I'm just trying to get back on my feet, but I'm grateful to be here.
Hi, I'm Ruben from Chicago. So actually just praying for my mom. She has been sober for a month, which was a huge thing. But I'm pretty sure she relapsed. It's her back pains. She's always had like issues with her back, and that's been like really the reason why she always falls back into alcohol. Because she doesn't like the feeling of like what the medication gives her, and just helping me, loving from a distance. I'm not anyone to condemn or anything, and I just want to love on her but I know that God is going to be there for her, and that's who I need to believe in. So yeah.
I just want to ask for prayers for my family as we grieve the loss of my grandmother this week. Also, my mom's mom. Just be with our family as we navigate this process.
Hi, I have a daughter who's 12 years old, and she's had a friend since kindergarten. They've been very close, and we just found out that he tried to commit suicide. She's 12 years old. They've been in the same grade, so it's just heartbreaking, and she's heartbroken, and so just prayer for him. His name is Blake. Thank you.
Hello. I'm requesting prayers for all those out there currently struggling with cravings, chronic loneliness, fatigue, depression. I've struggled with all of them, and society, for all of us.
Can everybody pray for my friend Jenny? She has some health problems going on.
Thank you, Colin and Seth. Seth, you want to join me up here one more time? Hey, just before we move on to our online people, and I think we'll have to use the back screen. Matthew, thank you for your honesty and bravery tonight. I know that wasn't easy, and I'm really, it sounds patronizing to say, but proud of you for saying that in front of the community. Sometimes it's easy to speak of someone else's relapse, and we lift them up, of course we do, but when you're speaking of your own, it's a powerful thing, and I'm glad you're here, glad you're part of this community. So thank you for that, and prayers for you. Do we have online people, or did we lose some? We have two? Can we see them on the screen, or you want to just shout them out? Oh, yes, I need my phone. Did you text them to me? No, they are. How do I do this? This is like technology. Okay, no, I see Heather. Yeah, okay, Heather says, please continue to pray for my brother Sean in Illinois, who has been battling a health journey and had been in the hospital since January 21st. All right, Heather, prayers for your brother Sean, lifting him up tonight. Seth, can you read that bottom one?
Yes. Stephen says, please pray for all the children who have parents with substance abuse issues. May they find stability in their life. So definitely the children of alcoholics and addicts.
Children of alcoholics and addicts. Very important, lifting them up. Thank you, Stephen. Thank you, Seth, for being up here. Thanks for being here all the way from Chicago, you and your wonderful team.
You know, it's very rare that we can show people the vision. They can walk into the vision, right?
Yeah, I love it. I love that you guys are here. All right, y'all, if you have been impacted by the mission of breaking the silence of addiction, well, you should know that we are funded by you, the people. Thank you all for those of you that have made giving a priority in your life. It helps sustain what we do here. It keeps the mission moving forward. It helps us do what we do. If you want to donate to free, there's a few different ways you can do it. You can download the app, Free Recovery Community. All of our content's on that app. There's a giving button there. You can give one time if you want to do it that way. You can also set it up to do weekly or monthly, however you want to do it. We're grateful for all of it. You can do the same thing on the website, freerecoverycommunity.com. And for those of you in-house, there are 2 giving boxes. For those of you that still carry around things like cash and checks, well, we take those. There's a giving box outside of these back doors and a giving box outside of the front doors. And there is the Kind kiosk right outside these front doors on your right. And it's the one tippy-tap system. You just tap the card and it, I don't know, it's an easy, fun way to give. Right, Carrie? Easy and obvious, she says. Easy and obvious. Thank you all for being a part of that. And if you don't give here, please make sure you're giving somewhere. Find people in need and give because it changes you. Shall we? Well, let's bring the Chicago crowd up here. I think we did that last time you were here last year. Let's bring the Chicago crowd up here to help close us in prayer. How many is there? 8? All 8 of you. Come on up. Come on in. You want to say something, Seth?
I do want to say we do have straight people in Chicago.
We do in Denver, too.
Yeah. There's at least 5 of them every week. Just none of them were here tonight. So yeah.
They couldn't make it.
No, they couldn't make it. They actually had kids to take care of. Yeah.
They have families and kids. Yes. Okay. Well, we're glad y'all are here. All right. I don't even know what prayer we're going to close with tonight because I didn't get to check with the tech team to put which one on. Oh, but they're telling me we're going to do the third step prayer. So Chicago people, I always encourage the community to just open up the hands and nothing special or magical about it. It's just letting Spirit in, letting God in, take a moment and invite in. The God who is always with us, the God who is always moving in our midst, doing the new, working with us through transition and change and all the hard stuff and the good stuff. And if you don't know the third step prayer, it's on your screen. We'll pray it together. It goes like this. God, I offer myself to thee to build with me and to do with me as thou wilt. Relieve me the bondage of self, that I may better do thy will. Take away thy difficulties, that victory over them may bear witness to those that would help. Thy power, thy love, and thy way of life. May I do thy will always. And God be with this Chicago crew and let them do amazing things in the world. Amen. Grace and peace. See you next time. Oh, they're wanting a picture.